motto for me was real food for all. Like, always make sure that you're using the most real ingredients you can, the freshest stuff you can, and make sure every single person that walks through your door, there is something that they're going to love to eat. Fresh food is just, it has more nutrients. I mean, it has more flavor. It's better for you. It's not been treated with chemicals, because when you grow food on a farm 1,000 miles away, in order to keep it fresh, you've got to spray it with chemicals.
Good morning. Welcome to Season 3 of the Spotlight Podcast. My name is Courtney Butler, and I am the Chamber Manager for the Greater Kokomo Alliance.
And I am Caitlin Sheets. I'm the Economic Development Manager for the Alliance. And today we have Adrienne Akers with the Radish Market and Cafe. Good morning, Adrienne. If you want to introduce yourself and your business, and then we'll just get started.
Sure. So I'm Adrienne Akers. I am a mom and a business owner here in Kokomo. I have been operating the Radish Market and Cafe for about 7 years now. Before that, I ran the Farmers Market for about 13 years. Right. So I'm really steeped in local food. Before that, I was a kindergarten teacher. So I came into doing what I do with very little knowledge about local food, about running a business. And so it's been a lot of learning as I go, and just trying to keep a good balance of being a mom and a wife and owning a business and trying to have fun while I'm doing it.
So how did it start? Teaching kindergarten and then starting a food business is very different.
Sure. So I've, in my life, I've been all over the place. I've dabbled here, I've lived there, I've done a lot of different things. And so I finally kind of started to recognize that everything that I was doing was educational. It was all teaching. So that's kind of why I went into teaching to begin with. I did that for several years and I absolutely loved it. There was, to me, I still think back, it's been almost 15 years now, and I still think, oh man, one day I'm going to get back in the classroom. One day I'm going to do that again. I was talking to Steve Daly the other day, and he said, Adrienne, this is your classroom. You are teaching. This is what you're doing now. It's just a different form, and that's for sure true. I stopped teaching so I could have kids. It felt like there's just no way I can put my all into being a kindergarten teacher and put my all into having my own family. So I took a pause from that. In the meantime, I moved to California, came back, and an opportunity opened up to be on the board of directors for the Farmers Market. I was a vendor, I'd been selling soap and doing different things like that. I jumped on that chance and just never looked back. Within a couple of weeks, they asked if I wanted to be the interim market master for the rest of that season. There were 2 markets left, and I said, oh, sure, it's 2 markets. 13 years later, I finally was like, you know what, I think I'm over this. I think I'm done now. And just decided to put everything I had into this store, which I'd opened for the market to begin with. But I'm just one of those kind of people who, whatever I'm doing at the time, that job, that career path, it just becomes my hobby. It's the thing that I do. It's what I live for. Kind of everything starts to just form around, how do I make this better? How do I grow into what I'm doing? I did that as a kindergarten teacher, and I did it as the market manager, and now I'm doing it as owner of Radish.
Can you kind of describe what Radish is and maybe how it fits kind of a niche that was missing in our community before you?
Sure, absolutely. When we first opened the store, I opened it for the Farmers Market. It was called the Market Store and Cafe. And at that time, it was just a way to extend the Farmers Market season. We had dabbled with winter markets and like a month-long general store in the middle of winter. But what I saw was that my vendors were amazing. I had this awesome crew of vendors that just needed more time. They needed more opportunity to sell things. Right. So that's what we started it as, is just a year-round farmers market, year-round indoor farmers market as an enhancement to what we were doing out on the market lot. And, at the time we opened this in 2019, through the work of the farmers market, local food had become more of a thing. Before then, people didn't even talk about what local food meant.
Yeah. Or even really maybe knew.
I remember somebody putting out on Facebook something like, what's your favorite local restaurant? This was years and years ago. And somebody said, oh, the Taco Bell on Sycamore. And it's like, And it wasn't a joke. I see people do that now as a joke, but this wasn't a joke. They just didn't understand.
Oh,
Like, that's
my
not local
goodness.
food. Just because
No.
it's in our town doesn't necessarily make it local food. And so, again, it was a lot of education, of trying to get people to understand, like, this is why it's important. This is how it benefits your health, your community, your pocketbook, your the city's economic standing.
Yeah.
And so, it's just, I don't even know what your original question was now.
So, yeah, how did you fit into this niche in the community? So you saw there's people don't even know what local food is, and do we have, an opportunity for people to learn about it and how it contributes to our economy and the community?
Okay, so let me finish that up. But just, there was a definite need. There was a definite need for not only for the farmers and the makers and the bakers that I was working with, but for the community to have access to that. Because there is a huge difference when you eat local food in so many different ways. And people just needed to understand what that was about and have it right there in front of them all the time. So we definitely filled a need. And, since the stores opened, we've got other small, like El Borrega's open, which is awesome. That's another great local grocery store that you can go to and also get food. So I see more people in the community understanding what that means, but also more people in the community willing to say, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat into this ring too, and I'm going to try it out. And, at first it's easy to see that as, oh my gosh, this is competition and everybody's doing what I thought I was doing and I was the only one. Right. But what I've grown to see is, like, this is a really amazing thing that so many people have seen local food as a value, and that it's something that we should really foster and give people the opportunity who are doing local things to have a venue, to have places to sell what they're working so hard on. So, yeah.
Hi, this is Tracy from Community First Bank, Indiana's Treasury Management Team. We hope you've been enjoying the episode so far. We know running a business means wearing a lot of hats, so we wanted to pause for just a second and ask a question you may not have revisited lately, but may be glad you asked. How can I reduce what I am paying in credit card processing fees? The first step is understanding your current effective rate and overall processing costs. So reviewing your full statement really matters. From there, it is a best practice to review your card processor relationship at least once a year or any time your business changes. As your business grows, it is important to work with a processor that can offer customized solutions that will fit your needs at every stage. At Community First, we work closely with our local processing partners to ensure our business clients have reliable solutions that support how they operate today. Thanks for letting us jump in and be a part of the conversation. If you ever want to chat or need help thinking through options, our team is here. Community First Bank of Indiana is a member of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. All right, we will let you get back to the main interview.
So how did things transform from just a space for people from the farmers market to have their own space, but then to now a restaurant? And how did that evolve?
Well, I was a wee baby. When we opened the store, there were it wasn't just me. It was the board of directors for the farmers market. We were all kind of, there was their kind of idea, and I was doing the work, and I did not totally understand how things worked. I didn't know that when you become okay, so let me start this way. I thought we were going to just continue to be a farmer's market inside. The health department decided, no, that's not what you are. You are a retail food establishment. So that changed everything for us. Oh. That meant everybody that we worked with had to have a commercial kitchen that they were working out of. Lots of different rules that I did not understand were going to affect us. I just thought, we're going to keep doing what we do. It's going to be awesome. And I'm just going to facilitate all of this stuff. Right. Well, when we realized, oh no, all the food that comes out of here has to be made in a commercial kitchen, that cut down the amount of vendors that we could use by well over half.
That's a huge barrier for
well
people.
Over half. And, I know Kokomo does love its food. And at the time we opened the store, there was really not that many food options downtown. It was really like Jamie's, and I think Cook's did lunch. Yeah. That was it. And so I knew in order to make the store go and to really flourish, that what we had to do was offer lunch. And we were doing that by using bits and pieces of our vendors' things and making brown bag lunches out of what they had. Well, when we can't do that anymore, what are you going to do? So we had a closet in that first space that we transformed into a kitchen. I brought my grandma's old stove in. I found, we used an old panini press that was mine. You know, we had nothing. We had a dorm refrigerator when we first started. And so, you know, it just grew from there, where I was doing basic things like making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and putting bacon on them. And, you know, just a little bit different, something a little bit unusual, but not what we're doing now. So what I came to understand is that as much as I try to focus on the food and the handmade things and all of that, what people really do want, what really is the engine, is the cafe. That's really how we continue to do this. The amount of, you know, I hate to even talk about this kind of stuff, but the amount of money that we make off of what our vendors sell is negligible. It keeps the lights on, basically. You know, it really just about does that. So the food aspect is what is keeping it all going. I never, ever expected to be a cook. I never expected that that's where all of this was going to lead me, but I do love it. I really enjoy making food for people. The instant gratification of, this is the food I made for you. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's like, oh, it really makes you feel good.
Yeah.
But also just, it's just another space for creativity for me, just another space for education for me. So it all just kind of comes back to trying to educate people. And, you know, when people come in and they say, oh, I love this, how did you do this? I'm not proprietary about any of that. I will sit there and I will tell them, this is how I made that. This is how I make the tofu. This is how I do that. Because really the goal, we change our menu all the time, because the goal is find something you love, figure out how it's made, go home and make it.
Yeah.
And the goal, you know, bigger goal is buy some of this stuff here, buy these ingredients here, and then go home and make this thing. So it's not just about what I sold right then or what I'm making right now. It's about where that's going to go for people. So, you know, at first people would come and be like, oh, I figured out how to make your this and that. And I'd be like, oh, but then I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point, is inspire people through food to get healthier, when it doesn't even feel like it's getting healthier. It's just like, this tastes good, so I'm going to eat it.
Right. Have you always been a good cook, or?
Gosh, no. No, nobody taught me to cook. Like, my mom was one of those moms that was like, she had so much to do when she was a kid that she was like, just be a kid, just be a kid.
Yeah.
So I watched in the kitchen. My grandma, who I spent most of my childhood with, was a very good country cook. And I spent a lot of time watching her and a lot of time eating food. They had this amazing garden, so all of this food was coming in fresh.
Yeah.
And so I ate that food, realized how delicious it was. I watched my grandma cook. And so I didn't really start cooking until I was in my mid-30s. I had a dinner party for some friends, and I was like, oh, well, you know, this will be fun. And then I had another dinner party.
I can do
like, oh, this is
this.
fun.
Yeah.
And so I had several more of those. And then when I did the farmers market, we did farm to fork dinners for like fundraisers and just fun events. And so it was me and several other women that were vendors at the market kind of getting together and doing that. And that's when I started to realize, oh, wait, I think, like, I kind of like doing this. I love making these menus. I can cook for a crowd. I can do this. But yeah, it was not anything I'd ever been like good at before. Or, I mean, my idea when I was younger of making dinner was like opening up like, I don't know, rice and beans and putting it in the pot and boiling it and feeling really, really good about it.
Yeah.
You know, so no, it's a lot of just like thinking about something my grandma made with beets and going with it, or thinking about, oh, I loved it when my mom used to make this, because I was vegetarian for 12 years growing up. And so a lot of the things that my mom, who did not totally know how to deal with a vegetarian kid, a lot of the things that she made for me when I was a kid growing up, I make those things now a little bit, you know, a little bit more upscale or a little bit more elevated, I guess. But a lot of things do come from my past. It come from childhood, come from those inspirations, but not because I grew up making any kind of food or being good at it at all.
But you're creative,
I'd say.
and there's a level of artistry, I think, to what you do in the way that you compile like your menu for the month. In the restaurant, what does the process for forming a new menu look like?
Really, it used to be just throwing everything out there and seeing what stuck.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds good to me. This, all the textures and the flavors and the fresh food, and this sounds great. Let's see if it works. A lot of it didn't, especially in the beginning. People just looked at my food and thought, this is weird. Like, they really did,
Yeah. Because it's so different.
It was pretty different at the time, especially. So now, I have more of a formula for what I do. It's 3 sandwiches, a flatbread, a salad. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of plugging those things in. I'm versed enough now in knowing what seasonal produce, what I'm going to be coming up with, what's going to come my way, that I can make a good menu just by, well, I know that zucchini is getting ready to come on, so I'm going to do something with zucchini this month. And so it's really just trying to come up with some things that I absolutely know people are going to love, that tried and true. Always put a tried and true couple things on there, and then I put a couple really weird things on there just to see how will people respond to this. And if they don't like it, then do I keep that, or do I tweak it a little bit and try it again in another couple months and see how it goes. It's kind of all over the place in how I do things, but it's become more refined. It's not just like, just do it and see, what they like. I have at least a better understanding of what people do like now and what they are willing to eat. And, it's been really cool to see, along with that, how many people we've gotten to enjoy tofu, just things like that. People would be like, no, I'm not eating that. No. And I'll still every once in a while get somebody in like, no, you can't even. And I'll be like, well, tofu's really good if I try to kind of do the whole line, the whole spiel about it. But yeah, I think that's the process. Oh, and always making sure that we have vegan items, vegetarian items, gluten-free items. I think a lot of people think that we are just a vegetarian and a vegan place, but we always have meat on our menu.
Right.
And a lot of that also comes from growing up vegetarian for 12 years. Back then, there were no vegetarian options in this city at all. You could go to Wendy's and get a vegetarian sandwich. It was everything but a patty. It was that was the highlight of my week, was being able to go out to eat and getting that. And so when we did started with the store and I started with cooking, like the motto for me was real food for all. Like, always make sure that you're using the most real ingredients you can, the freshest stuff you can, and make sure every single person that walks through your door, there is something that they're going to love to eat. So that's also part of kind of making that menu, is just making sure that I always have a good balance of things that I think everybody will really enjoy, whatever their dietary restrictions or needs might be.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about how you source your product and your ingredients in the store?
Yeah.
The importance of those being local.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
maybe what does local mean in this context?
Absolutely. That's a great question, because the definition of local has changed so much. When I ran the farmers market, we said 50 miles within Howard County. That's our definition of local. And then there's just, especially at that time, there's just not that many people doing that.
Yeah.
So if you have such a narrow definition of local, you are cutting out so many possibilities, so many other things. So we widened that, quite a bit to be 100 miles of Howard County. And I still try to keep within that as much as I can. But again, that's really saying there's no avocados in your store, Adrienne. There's no bananas. There's so many different things that you can't get. And honestly, our growers around here that we work with, the smaller farmers, there's just certain things they're never going to grow. They're not going to grow celery because it takes too much water and too much time. So I have to figure out how to get celery. There's just certain things. And again, the amount of food that we can get from our local folks is small. We're not just truckloads of produce coming in from local people. That's just not what happens. So sometimes what I have to do is say, well, I really want to highlight this ingredient, but I only have so much of it. I'm going to go to the grocery and I'm going to buy that ingredient and I'm going to put it on the menu so that it might inspire people to buy that local product from that farmer. So we use as much from the store as we possibly can. We use local meat. We try to use all of our jams and jellies and things like that are all from our local sources. We use as much of the local produce as possible, but a lot of times it is like, I know I want to highlight this thing, but if I use it, there's none for anybody else to buy.
Right.
So I'm going to go and do it this way. But, you know, I still work with a lot of those market vendors from back from the farmers market. We have a lot of people coming in and just saying, hey, I grow this. Are you interested? And, you know, we try to take those people in and give them a place to sell their stuff, and just try to meet new farms and find new outlets. We did Market Wagon for a little while, which is like an online farmers market. So when I would deliver down, we would make food, and then I would deliver chicken salad and potato salad and whatever down to a hub in Carmel where all the food would go out from there. So that's a lot of like meeting farmers through there. We're all putting stuff in bags and packing stuff up, and I'll see, oh, like, this is really cool. You've got cherries. I don't know anybody that has cherries like this. So can I get some cherries? Like, where's your farm at? And just having conversations like that to try to bring in new farmers too.
Neat.
So how have you, I think it's really interesting that you go from being a teacher to then working in the farmer's market to owning your own business. So obviously being an entrepreneur was not in your 5, 10, 15-year plan.
No.
And is there advice, and I think we've found a lot of people on the podcast too that haven't always thought that they were going to be an entrepreneur. What would you say your journey has been like, and things that you might have learned along the way that you would maybe do differently, or that you would give advice for too going forward?
Gosh, I think my journey would be so different from other people's that it's hard to even know. You know, I'd say if you think you're going to own a business, figure out what that actually means, because I really did not know. And I'm still learning what that means, learning all the 5 different kinds of taxes I have to pay and all of the different things. There's so many parts and pieces that you got to really love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, you're going to crash and burn and be done really, really quickly. And I think it's easy to see that happening right in front of us. But yeah, if you don't love what you're doing, don't even try. It's going to become so huge and overwhelming that you're not even going to enjoy anything that you liked about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do.
And they're taking your hobby and something that you really, really love and then making it your livelihood. You can expect that the way that you feel about it will probably change.
Yeah.
Maybe better, maybe worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it's something that you really, really love, like I just love that I can do this thing, and then people don't like it, or they make fun of it, or they get on Facebook and say how bad it is or whatever, that's crushing.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have some grit about you and the belief in yourself that, like, you can say that, but I know what I'm doing is the right thing, you know, and I'm not good at that. But I've had to get better at it. Just like belief in, I know what I'm doing is good, and I know what I'm doing is positive. Even if I don't always make the right step, the goal is good. The goal is worth keeping going on.
Yep. So what would you say your goal is right now? Is it to educate, to provide fresh food for people? I know you talked about real food for all people.
Making sure that people have access to real food.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened to me as an educator that maybe led to some of this in a way is that when I taught kindergarten, I taught at Elwood Haynes, which is a high poverty school, lots of at-risk kids. And one of the things that we had there was a grant, fruit and vegetable grant. So every day after lunch, the lunch ladies would come with a tray, and it would have little cups of all these different things, some kiwi, avocado, you know, all these different kinds of foods and fruits that some kids had had and some kids hadn't had. And we had a rule. You get it, you take one bite, you chew it up, and you swallow it. There's no or spitting it out, or I'm not doing that, or if you're not allergic to it, you try it. You give it a chance. I had kids 5 and 6 years old that had never seen a kiwi, had never touched a strawberry in real life. They'd had apples and bananas at home, and they didn't have all these other things. And some of them really struggled to learn because their nutrition was so poor.
Right.
That they could not stay awake. They could not engage. They could not retain information. And I realized it's situational. their lives, some of them are really, really hard, but it's also just they don't have the right food. They don't have the right fuel in their body to be able to do this kind of stuff. So that was a huge inspiration for me when I did take over the farmers market to like, we got to get kids in here and we got to start educating them and familiarizing them with food so that when they see it for the first time, their first reaction isn't, ew, I don't know, like, this is new, this is cool, this is something I get to try. So that's still kind of an inspiration for me, is just making sure that more people have access to food that's good for them. And then, we had a food desert in downtown Kokomo. I'm not saying we're healing that desert, but we are, along with El Borrego, we are trying to eliminate Kokomo downtown as being a food desert. So continuing on that trek, and then, yes, providing education for people that, you can try new things and you'll probably like it if you just give it a chance.
Right.
Yeah. So still continuing on that track, and, just trying to support other entrepreneurs, other small business owners, giving them a space to sell their stuff so that they can grow their dreams. It's not easy. I know if I hadn't kind of taken the store over and bought it from the farmers market, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't have had the capital to do that. I wouldn't have been able to. So being able to share that with other people and say, come on in my space. And, we do those, we have that room in the back, our blue room, where we will put vendors back there. We don't charge them, just go in, because it enhances what we do. It makes our space better by providing them a space to do what they do. So just being able to continue to do that is tops for me.
So then what other kind of barriers do you see for makers that you hold space for in the market? What kind of things are holding people back from starting businesses?
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's so expensive to do it. And around here, the space to do it in is also quite expensive. Like, space downtown is not easy to afford.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that because of that, it inhibits so many people from trying, and it inhibits their ability to grow and to be able to flourish, because they're underneath these huge rents that make it really hard to even to invest in new equipment or to invest in new employees even.
And especially if they're making a food product and they have to have a commercial kitchen, that's so many thousands of dollars that you have to spend on that equipment.
Absolutely.
And then to go through the education process of learning the protocol they have to follow and all the health department rules and regulations. It's
a lot.
Yeah.
It really is a lot to have to do. And so, there's another thing, we rent our kitchen out, so that people that have, I want to make a sauce, I want to make a jam, I want to make jellies, I want to sell through your store, I want to roast coffee, or I want to make bread, come on in. Come on in and use the kitchen. Here's the times that you can be in here. I know when I've tried to rent kitchens in the past, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's really expensive to rent a kitchen. We only charge $20 an hour.
right.
Like, you can use all of our stuff, like not our ingredients, obviously, but you can use all of the equipment, and all of this is for people to just come in and grow their dreams.
I think it's interesting that you have so many different streams or ways that people are finding you, like so many different ways that you're serving the community. Are there some of those you talked about, the market area, not super profitable for you?
Yeah.
But it's important for you to do it because it gives space for those people. It's the point of it.
Yeah.
What other kind of areas like that you talked about, renting out your kitchen? Are there other things where you're like, this is worth my time, but it's not necessarily bringing us money, but it contributes to the mission?
I don't know. So much of the time is spent cheerleading the market vendors.
Yeah.
Trying to, that really is, like I said, that really is the point. And I lose the plot a lot. I'll forget and I'll be like, oh, I've got to make the best food and I've got to sell all this food and and then be like, okay, stop. That's not the point. The point is getting this food out to people, giving these people a place to do their thing. So stop complicating back here. Keep it simple so that you can keep that going. I have to remind myself of that a lot.
I mean, I think you kind of have to do that in any job,
Yeah.
and that's a good lesson for people. Like our boss, Lori, that is one of the most valuable things that I've learned from her is when you're in the weeds of something, sometimes it just gets too muddy.
Mm-hmm.
You add too many layers to it.
Yep.
There's too much complication.
Yep.
And she will ask us all the time, okay, but what is the point? What's the purpose of this again?
Yep.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
If you're not serving the purpose, pivot.
Stop. Yeah.
Redirect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think running the market and always wanting to do more and try this and try that and I heard a lot like, Adrienne, that's mission creep. You got to stop. Stop. That's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
This is the point. And so having board members kind of tell me that, it's a little on my shoulder, I guess, sometimes, like, hey, Adrienne, don't forget what the point is, Right. And I mean, I just had that one of those things last week where I got so frustrated, like, this year's been hard. Financially, it's been hard because the economy is really rough. And so, where we've had like 7 years of upward trajectory that's been amazing, it's kind of starting to plateau a little bit right now. And it's constant like, okay, is it me? Is it the store? Is it the economy? Is it the fact that there's so much more competition now than there used to be? Like, what is the thing? Oh, I'll start this. I'm going to start this thing now, and I'll do that, and it'll bring people in. Like, hold on. The reason you're so overwhelmed and the reason you're so all over the place and you feel so scattered is because you've lost the plot. Remember what you're here for, and go back to just doing that. And if something's taking you away from that, stop. Just cut it out. Don't do it.
And I know we just had our downtown strawberry festival, 2 weeks ago now, a week ago.
Yeah.
And I think that we've seen that just the economy has been affected so much. We're not seeing as many people purchasing the things that are maybe an extra. And so I think keeping yourself relevant is really important. Keeping that mindset and that vision, where do you see the Radish in maybe 5 years? Or do you not really know?
I don't really know. I mean, I would love to be able to take what we do. My real dream is to, right now, because it changes, but this has actually been a kind of a thing that's gone through all of this, is to be able to take what we do more on the road. There are neighborhoods and places in town that we don't serve because people can't get to us. Mm-hmm. And there are places that need local food or places that need access to fresh food. Let's just put it that way.
Yep.
I would love to be able to get some sort of a bus, a truck, something where we could take and go and park in some of these neighborhoods and do more of a nonprofit sort of work there, where the food that we can sell at the store is the engine again that it allows us to take food to other places and sell it or give it away at a much cheaper rate than what we can charge in the store for. Right. So just continuing to like get out and provide access to other people. Every once in a while I think, man, it'd be cool to open a store in Bloomington. I bet we'd really do well in Bloomington.
I went to college in Bloomington.
Yeah, same.
And that is, I think about all the time, like people think of Bloomington as a college town, but I've said since I went there in college, like it would be so cool to raise your family here because there's so much diversity and opportunity and
it's so cool. I went to college there too, but a lot before you did. And my husband and I just went back there, last summer I think it was. And we couldn't believe how much it had grown up. Like just one whole street full of like ethnic food.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And my
3rd Street?
I think so.
Street,
my niece goes, she just graduated from IU recently, and she worked for me a couple of summers ago, and she's been telling me ever since, Adrienne, you got to open a Radish in Bloomington. You got to open a Radish in Bloomington. You've got to do that. Like, I can't hardly keep up with Radish and Kokomo. Sure. So doing that in Bloomington, like taking it to a whole nother city and opening another store is just, it's not really, it's a cool idea, but really the point is to serve where I'm from.
Sure. Right.
To be right here and serve the community that served me. So
I think a lot about how you talked a lot about how you can get food to people that may not be able to reach it. My brain's turning now a little bit. Have you ever worked with like Flowers Feed Folks before? They're a local nonprofit that they grow flour, sell them, and then they're able to purchase the vegetables and stuff.
I know those folks. Yeah, I'm familiar with what they're doing, and I think it's awesome. I know that they're working out at Thistle Rock Farm and doing some really cool stuff. I think it's really inspiring, the work that they're doing.
It kind of makes me think of like, why couldn't you open a food truck and offer the same things that you have in the cafe? But maybe something at more of a price point that would better serve. And so maybe that's where you could maybe bring that food truck to Bloomington, but also you can serve different parts of Kokomo and Howard County too.
Yeah. And there's an important, I kind of want to give you an opportunity to sell yourself, because I know talking about, the economic factors and the things that make people reach for maybe the cheaper, more affordable food option. Take like 30 seconds and just sell yourself. And I know that's hard for you because you operate with humility, and I love that about you. That's wonderful. But it is important, if we're going to promote you, to give you an opportunity to say, what's so important about eating fresh? What does that do for your body? Local food, like really communicate how valuable this is. And it's important to spend a few extra dollars sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So fresh food is just, it has more nutrients. I mean, it has more flavor. It's better for you. It's not been treated with chemicals, because when you grow food on a farm 1,000 miles away, in order to keep it fresh, you've got to spray it with chemicals to get it to here. So there's that. We've got the food miles that food has to travel that make it more expensive for us, but also more expensive for our environment. It's polluting our environment to take food from a farm 1,000 miles away to get it right here when it's grown right here too. So there's huge value in just how it helps your body, how it helps the environment, but there's also huge value in how it helps our community. When you spend money in the community that's from the community, the money stays in the community and it circulates here. It's not going to a CEO that owns, for Walmart or Meijer or anywhere else. And I understand that we can't grow everything here that we want and need, but when we can get the things that we want and need here, we really should spend the extra 50 cents. It's usually not that much more to buy the fresh and local food. At the store, we keep our prices very low. We do not mark things up extravagantly by any stretch. Most of the products that we sell in the store, if they have them at Meijer, we are cheaper than what they have at Meijer. We don't I'm not trying to make money off of what other people do. I'm trying to keep the lights on, and that's about it. So we're not marking things up. When we had the egg crisis a couple of years ago, our eggs were cheaper. Not only were they better for you, they were cheaper than what you could get at the grocery store. So I think the value that we have at the store is just trying to get people to eat fresh and trying to get them to have things that are better for them. And our understanding is it's just better for everybody when they do that.
Right. So as we wrap up, how can people find you? Are you on social media? And then how can people, I know you added online ordering. So what does that look like? What are all the ways that people could engage with Radish?
Yeah, absolutely. So the place that we do the most work, I think, to engage us with is on Facebook, beyond the store. When people come in the store, we try to really educate them about what we're doing if they're new. But as far as trying to find out information, if you're not able to come in the store frequently, it's Facebook. We do have an Instagram site. We do have a website. We are still learning how to use that in the best ways. You can call us to order food. You can call us and say, hey, I'm looking for 5 pounds of tomatoes. Can you get those for us? We'll even broker those kinds of deals for people and try to connect people with the farmers that they need. But I think right now Facebook is probably the best place for us to get information out. But the really best thing is to just come in the store and experience it for yourselves. It is truly unique. We'll have people come in and be like, well, this is like Cracker Barrel. And it sort of is. You've got the gift shop up front and you've got the food in the back. But ours is all local. So there's that local flavor. It's just completely unique. There's no other place in the whole world like ours. Right? When we first opened the store back in the day, that's what we were told. Like, there's no other place like this in the country. There was one other place that we could find that was a farmer's market grocery store. And so I mean, I think more places like that have opened, but right now that this is a truly one of a kind. And it's one of a kind this week, and then next week it's another one of a kind, and the next week it's another one of a kind. It's always something different.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun experience to come in and see what people are up to and see the cool things that they're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for serving the community and offering fresh food and
Definitely.
yummy food. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
you're
always so
welcome.
impressed with everything. And
Thank you.
if you haven't checked it out, make sure there's new menus every month, right?
Every month. Yep.
So thank you. And thank you to Community First Bank of Indiana for sponsoring the podcast. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Thanks.